Howdy folks, EarthGurgle here, and to maintain full transparency, this is actually a redo of a video I just recorded because my fucking audio input was set to the wrong thing somehow. Anyway, yeah, hello. So this video is going to be a little different from what I typically do on this channel, in that I'm not going to be playing games and commenting on them live, rather I'm going to be looking at some games I've already played and commenting on the replays. So if you're not interested in that, just go ahead and click out now. But I figured maybe a few people would want to see some of my tournament. Whoops! I am so sorry for that sound. Anyway, I figured maybe a few people would be interested in seeing some of my tournament games. So, yeah, you know, I wanted to share this series because it was really intense. It was quite high stakes, basically. So to give the context, this was part of 1v1 Premier League, which is a team tournament on Smogon. And if you're not familiar with team tours on Smogon, the way they work is basically each week your team is paired with another team, you go head to head, and there's multiple slots in which different players play. In this case, for example, we have one Gen 8 best of 7 slot, and then two Gen 8 best of 5 slots, then two Gen 7 best of 5 slots, and then one best of 5 slot each from Gens 4 through 6. So that's 8 total slots. So to win the week, your team would have to win at least 5 of those series. And there's a different player playing each one, obviously. So I've been playing Gen 8 best of 5, because I'm just strongest at Gen 8 out of those options. If Gen 3 were an option, I'd be playing that, and I'd be destroying at it. But I've been doing pretty well at Gen 8. So anyway, my opponent here was ABD 1710, and he's, I think, even newer to 1v1 than I am, so I didn't know exactly what to expect from him, which I think made this a little harder. From what I did have to go off of, from the few replays of his that I had, I knew that he tended to pick pretty safe, but that's about all I knew. Well, not safe necessarily, but he tended to pick the thing with the best matchup, pretty much. But obviously I knew he wasn't incompetent. I knew that he wouldn't always just do that. So, these games, anyway, full context. Let me give the full context. So at this point, I played this game yesterday. And it was the last game of the week between my team, the Castelia City CATGIRLS, and I'll let that name sink in for a second, and the other team was the Trigger Happy Thwackies. So at that point in the week, it was the last game out of 8, and the score was 3. We had won 3 series to 4 that the Thwackies had won. So in order to not lose the week, in order to tie the week, I would have to win this series. Otherwise, this was semifinals, so we were out of the tournament if I lost. So very high stakes, very high pressure for me. And so yeah, let's take a look at the games now. So game 1. Wait a minute. So I have just realized there was no music that whole time, and I'm deeply sorry for that, but I'm not re-recording it for a second time, so deal with it, I guess. Anyway, there's music now. I hope that makes this video more bearable. Anyway, so this matchup was pretty cool, actually. This was very much in my favor. This is the one team I used that wasn't a team I built. It was built by my teammate PQS. He's a fantastic builder. He actually put this team together right before I played and gave it to me in the morning. And this was played. I played it at 11 in the morning, and it was a Sunday, and I typically don't get up before noon on Sundays. But yeah, well, the thing is, Mishlev had just played his series, and that's what put he won, and that's what put the score at 3-4. Because we had been at 1-4, and then I think Kentari won, and then Mishlev won. Yeah, like all in a row, Kentari, then Mishlev, then me. It was crazy. To bring it to a tie. But anyway, this matchup was pretty cool, I guess. Zeraora looked very good here, because this is a taunt Zeraora, so it should beat any Zapdos that can exist. It should beat Tapu Fini, obviously. Kind of whack versus Aegislash. I don't know if it beat Aegislash or not. I probably should have calced that, but my thought process was basically, if I'm picking Zeraora, it's not to beat the Aegislash anyway. Because Aegislash can be all kinds of different sets, really. And I think ABD was probably scared of Urshifu being dark and coming out. because if it were Urshifu Dark, it would obviously beat Aegislash, and it would in fact beat the Zapdos he was running. It wouldn't beat every Zapdos, which is part of why I didn't pick it. But the main reason I didn't pick it is because I really expected Tapu Fini from him, since Fini would beat Urshifu, and if it was Scarf Fini, it would beat Registeel as well by tricking the Scarf. So I thought Tapu Fini was coming out, so I picked Zeraora, knowing that it would also beat Zapdos, so it was a 2-1 anyway. It was a very safe pick. And yeah, he goes Zapdos. Not what I expected, but so he Agility's here. And so I know now it's Stall Zapdos, PP Stall Zapdos, so I taunt it. And now he can't do anything to me. In fact, he has no attacking moves, which is kind of whack, to be honest. I really don't like zero attacking moves, Zapdos, but it wouldn't have mattered here. I won against any Zapdos with this. So that was just a very nice game one. Very good way to start it. I feel like, and I don't know if this is backed by the statistics, but I feel like when you win game one, you usually win the series. It's like a psychological thing, even though it's, well, I mean, obviously it is an advantage because you've won one game and now you have only 2 more to win. But discounting that, I think there's also a psychological edge that you get. It's demoralizing to lose game one, is what I mean. But it can also be demoralizing to lose game 3 if you've won the first 2. So it can go either way. Anyway, this matchup was also kind of interesting. So this Arcanine is Choice Banded, so it's Choice Banded and it has Flare Blitz, Outrage, and Play Rough. So I looked at this, and also Close Combat for Heatran. I looked at this and I was like, wow, if that's Dark Shifu, I just 3-0 him with Arcanine, just straight up. Now, it might have been Water Shifu. I really don't know. Looking at the team, I leaned towards thinking it was Dark Shifu because he didn't have, like, a better way. Well, like his Spectrier matchup was kind of weird, for example. Maybe Genesect beats it. I don't know. But, yeah, I didn't really think... I figured it was coming down between Urshifu and Dracozolt, but I thought Dracozolt was the most likely because it just has the best matchup versus me. And it's the hardest to pick against for sure, because I didn't know if it was Scarf or Band or Custap. But I banked on it being Scarf or Custap, because those are the most common. Band is very rare. Not that Band is impossible, but it's rare. Especially now, current year. Scarf is rare too. It's mostly just Custap they run now. So I was pretty confident Dracozolt was coming out, and I was pretty confident it wasn't Banded, and even if it was, he could miss. So I picked Arcanine, knowing that I would live Bolt Beak 90-something% of the time, and that was good enough, obviously. And I lived, and I outraged, and I won. So that's 2 games I've won. Now you do the math. This is a best of 5, so I have to win 3, and we played 5 games in total. So it's not a spoiler to say that I lost the next 2, but the way that I lost is kind of interesting. These matchups were interesting. So this one, in this one, I couldn't have won. I actually had no way to win because of what his Gudra set was. So Genesect loses because he has Flamethrower. Actually, you know, Genesect might have won because I was Aka Genesect, but it was iffy. It was definitely iffy. Urshifu lost, and I thought Zeraora would win. At Team Preview, I thought Zeraora would be a 3-0, because I'm Choice Banded Zeraora. I have Fire Punch for Genesect, I have Outrage for Gudra, and if the Zapdos didn't have Agility, I would just beat it with Plasma Fists. And I also didn't think he'd pick Zapdos because of what happened game 1, basically. So I picked Zeraora. And I really thought I had a good shot of just winning here. But it turned out this Gudra was fucking... I looked. I found out later what the set was, in fact. It was 252, 252 bold. It was a fully defensive Gudra. So, yeah, that's pretty rare. Against a sane person's Gudra, I would have won. But this worked. This worked for them, so I can't really... I can't say it's a bad set, I don't feel like it's a good set. But yeah, it beat me. In fact, like I said, it most likely 3-0'd me. Unless I outplayed... Again, I'm not sure about Genesect. I don't know if... Maybe if I shift-geared, I could have won, but... Wait, was I shift gear on that? Hold on. I might just be making this up. No, I was mixed. So never mind. I lost no matter what. That one was Life Orb. Yeah, I made a different team with Akka Genesect for my previous series. So yeah, I just lost that straight up. Anyway, this game also was quite interesting. So I immediately knew he wasn't picking Grimmsnarl because it only beat Spectrier and didn't beat the other two reliably. I knew Genesect was possible because it beats Sylveon, and more importantly, because Sylveon was my only hope against Lando if it was Banded Landorus. Now, I don't know if it was Banded Landorus. I didn't find out what the set was later, but basically I thought if he's Banded Landorus, he's picking it 100%, because it beats Volcanion, it beats Spectrier, and it has good odds against Sylveon. It just has to not get too many sleep turns. So, at the same time, I looked at this from his perspective and I thought maybe he would anticipate me to pick Sylve. And I actually clicked Volcanion. I'm not trying to make this up to make myself look better. I genuinely picked Volcanion here, thinking that he would in fact pick Genesect, expecting Sylveon to come out as my only Lando answer. But then I unclicked Volcanion, and I clicked Sylveon, and this is what happened. I got obliterated in Game 4. Now, I think this was a learning experience, and I think it's the reason I ended up winning Game 5, actually. Because it gave me... Well, he was adapting to how I had been playing, I think. He was adapting to my picking style, so I needed to adapt to his adaptation. And I knew he would still probably pick a Mon if it was a soft 3-0 that looked like a really good soft 3-0. And so I had to make it look good. And some of my teammates had mentioned already that a lot of my teams were weak to Goodra. A lot of the teams I brought this week were weak to Goodra. And I was like, okay. Oh, and I didn't explain. Hold on. Back to Game 2. One interesting thing. This Rillaboom was this one was Life Orb. It was Woodhammer, Grassy Glide, Swords Dance, and I don't fucking remember what the fourth move was. But I had been using Subseed Rillaboom on this team, but PQS convinced me that... PQS said that I should probably use Life Orb because it had some better matchups. But then I was like, well, okay, but Subseed also has some good matchups, for example, versus Dracozolt. And if I'd been using Subseed, I would have picked it in this game, I think. But that would have actually been bad, as it happens. And so PQS basically said, okay, because you have two... because both are options, you should just split the team in two and have two different versions of the team, one with Subseed, one with Life Orb, and then pick the team based on the matchups. And that was a very smart, very wise piece of advice from him. And I'm really glad he said that, because otherwise I probably would have just scrapped the Subseed one. But instead, I brought the Subseed one, because like I said, I had been weak to Goodra up till that point. And I knew this was GUI, not Sap Sipper, because of Zeraora, because of the Zeraora game, plus... nobody runs Sap Sipper in 1v1 because it doesn't really make sense. So I brought this team, knowing that it looked weak as hell to Goodra. And knowing that he would probably pick it. And knowing that Rillaboom would beat it. But my god, this matchup is hilarious. And this was so fucking nerve-wracking because look, he has two Mons that destroy Rillaboom, and another Mon that kind of looks like it destroys Rillaboom. And I was actually shaking in this game. My heart was racing. Like I said, I got up earlier than I normally do, so I drank some coffee before the game, and that was really speeding up my heartbeat. Felt like I was gonna fucking keel over and just die on the spot, which would not have been good for my team in the tournament. Not to mention for my own health. But I somehow powered through it, and I clicked Rillaboom. And the funny thing is, clicking Rillaboom wasn't that difficult. It was nerve-wracking, but it wasn't difficult. I knew it was my pick, because I knew Goodra was really likely, but I also knew that if I lost because he picked one of the other two, I would hear no end of the abuse that I would receive from my teammates and like from the entire 1v1 community. Like, I would probably be a laughingstock if I picked Rillaboom here and lost, because it looked so bad in this matchup. And that was in the back of my head, but I pushed it back, because I knew it was the right pick. I knew Goodra was likely. I knew Goodra was really likely, in fact. And I was right. He picked Goodra. And I click Leech Seed, he Flamethrowers, it doesn't burn me or any bullshit. And that's it. I just have to spam Sub and Protect and I win. And the chat here, God, the chat, praise was thrown upon me from all sides, from the chat, from the team Discord after, from just everywhere. And this felt so good. I mean, this was the hypest moment I've had in playing Pokemon, and I've been playing competitive Pokemon on and off for like 6 years or something. But God, this was great. Earthgurgle, you turned me gay. Holy shit! I don't know if you can see all of that on the recording, but that's PQS. So yeah, not much else to say. I won. It was so fucking high pressure, so intense. And I'm so glad I won this and got my team to a tie so that now it'll go on to a tiebreaker. And I'm doing everything I can, everything in my own power to help my teammates to prepare for the tiebreaker rounds. I'm not playing in the tiebreaker myself. It's only 3 people playing. But I'm helping out, and I really fucking hope we win after the pressure that I was under trying to make sure that we could tie. You know, like pulling through here was it was the height of my Pokemon career so far. That's for sure. So yeah, really hope we win the tiebreak. I really hope that the CATGIRLS, that my team goes on to win the whole tournament. You know. So yeah, that's about it. I really fucking hope we win after this. And yeah. Anyway, as for channel stuff, I'm probably not gonna do a lot of other videos like this. I just wanted to talk about this series because it was just so fucking crazy, and I was so happy about winning, and I was so happy about the way I won. You know, it just worked out so nicely. But yeah, hope the CATGIRLS win. I hope we destroy these guys. I hope we 3-0 them in the tiebreak, and I hope we go on to beat the Porygons in the finals. So, was there something else I wanted to say? There might have been something I said in the other recording that didn't get recorded, but oh well. Peace.